Sunshine Villa. Sunshine Villa, Lily breathed the name a near-reverent whisper. It's the happiest place on earth, at least for me. She traced patterns on the condensation of her iced tea, a faraway look softening her features. It's this big, bright yellow house right on the beach in Seabreeze. 3 stories, wraparound porch, the whole 9 yards. Dad painted it that ridiculous color years ago, said it was scientifically proven to induce joy. She chuckled, the sound like wind chimes. The best part is the widow's walk on the roof. You can see the entire coastline from up there. We used to camp out up there as kids, telling stories until the stars faded. One year, Uncle Barry even rigged up a telescope. We thought we'd discovered a new planet, but it turned out to be a particularly shiny seagull. A genuine smile bloomed. Every summer, my family piles into cars, sometimes planes, and we descend upon that place like a flock of seagulls ourselves. Grandma makes her famous key lime pie, Dad overcooks burgers on the grill, and my cousins and I sneak out to the beach for bonfires. One year, we buried Uncle Barry up to his neck in the sand and decorated him with seaweed like a mermaid. He only started complaining after the tide came in. Her eyes sparkled. This summer is going to be epic. I've got all sorts of plans. Paddleboarding, late-night swims, maybe even finally learning how to surf. I've been waiting all year. No, nobody is going to ruin Sunshine Villa for us. A flicker of steel entered her gaze, a subtle shift that spoke volumes. Nobody. The grumpy new neighbor. The U-Haul groaned, backing into the driveway next door with a sound like a wounded beast. Lily peeked through the Sunshine Villa's kitchen window, a spatula dripping pancake batter in her hand. A woman emerged, all sharp angles and a permanent frown etched into her face. Agnes Crabtree, Lily presumed, judging by the name on the mailbox the movers were struggling to wrestle from the truck. Honestly, the racket. Mrs. Crabtree snapped, her voice a rusty hinge. Can't you see people are trying to enjoy a bit of peace and quiet? Lily winced. Peaceful mornings were a Sunshine family tradition. Soon, the scent of waffles and the ukulele's cheerful strum would be wafting through the air. She hoped Mrs. Crabtree wouldn't lodge a complaint before they even finished breakfast. As the movers wrestled furniture from the truck, Mrs. Crabtree surveyed the street, her nose wrinkling. Good heavens, she muttered, loud enough for Lily to hear through the open window. It's like living in a box of crayons. Who chose these atrocious colors? Her gaze landed on the Sunshine Villa, its vibrant yellow and orange facade practically radiating joy. Mrs. Crabtree's sour expression deepened. She stood there for a long moment, a gargoyle carved from disapproval, her eyes narrowed as if trying to decipher some terrible secret hidden within the villa's sunny exterior. Lily felt a chill despite the warmth of the kitchen. This was going to be interesting. An unwelcome party. The lemon-yellow villa shimmered in the late afternoon sun, a beacon after the long drive. Lily bounced in her seat, pointing. There it is. Our Sunshine Villa. The name, a family joke about their relentlessly optimistic outlook, always made her smile. But as they pulled into the driveway, the smile faltered. Music, loud and thumping, vibrated through the air. Cars, a mismatched collection of shiny SUVs and beat-up sedans, crammed the parking area. Laughter, raucous and off-key, spilled from the open windows. What in the world? Dad muttered, cutting the engine. Hesitantly, they approached the front door, usually adorned with Lily's mom's hand-painted, Welcome Sunshine family sign. Tonight, it was gone. The door swung open before they could knock, revealing a woman Lily vaguely recognized from the neighborhood association meetings. Mrs. Crabtree, in a sequined dress that strained at the seams, blocked their path. A cloud of cheap perfume assaulted Lily's nostrils. Well, 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 Mrs. Crabtree drawled, a smirk twisting her lips. Look who decided to finally show up. You're just in time for the conga line. She raised a hand, laden with gaudy rings. Though, I'm afraid you're a bit late to the party. The ownership party, that is, this villa, she gestured expansively behind her, is mine now. Deeds all signed and sealed. So run along, sunshines. Find another place to park your sunshine. The crayon deed. Mrs. Crabtree's face glowed with a smug satisfaction that could curdle milk. Aha! She declared, reaching into her capacious handbag. It was like watching a clown pull endless scarves from his sleeve. Finally, she produced a sheet of construction paper, fringed with what looked suspiciously like glitter glue. The deed, she announced, holding it aloft. Lily, her parents flanking her, leaned forward. The document, executed in a rainbow of crayon, depicted a stick figure house perched precariously on a bright green hill. To whom it may concern, it read in wobbly block letters, I, Universe, give this house to Agnes Crabtree forever and ever. Below, a sun with eyelashes smiled serenely. Lily's dad choked back a laugh. Her mom's eyebrows climbed towards her hairline. Mrs. Crabtree, Lily began, carefully, this is a child's drawing. The glitter glue, Lily noticed with a sinking feeling, was the exact shade of iridescent purple Luna had been using yesterday. Nonsense. Mrs. Crabtree huffed, brandishing the crayon masterpiece. It's perfectly legal. Signed, Universe. Clear as day. She tapped the paper with a crimson fingernail. And see? Here's the official stamp. She pointed to a smudged, circular impression in the corner, a starburst crudely drawn in black crayon. Lily recognized Luna's signature embellishment. The heat rose in Lily's cheeks. This wasn't just ridiculous, it was personal. Dad tries to reason. Now, Mrs. Crabtree, Dad began, his voice a carefully modulated baritone designed to soothe rather than escalate. He held up a crisp, official-looking document encased in a protective plastic sleeve. Perhaps there's been a misunderstanding. This is the deed to Villa Sunshine, clearly demonstrating our family's ownership since 1978. Mrs. Crabtree's pinched face tightened further. Deed? Deed, Schmied? I've seen more convincing documents printed in a Cracker Jack box. She waved a dismissive hand, her heavily jeweled fingers flashing in the late afternoon sun. This whole thing is a sham. You think you can fool me with your fancy paper? I know a squatter when I see one. From the patio, the steel drum band launched into a lively rendition of Island in the Sun. The scent of jerk chicken wafted through the air, mingling with the sharper smell of Mrs. Crabtree's expensive perfume, something floral and cloying. Lily caught Marco offering glow stick necklaces to a group of giggling children completely oblivious to the simmering conflict at the edge of the lawn. Dad sighed, the air whistling softly through his teeth. He tried again, raising his voice slightly to be heard over the music. Mrs. Crabtree, I assure you, this is a legally binding document filed with the county. Lies? All lies. She shrieked, her voice now a piercing weapon. Get off my property, you sun-baked hooligans. Before I call the sheriff. He lowered the deed, the plastic crinkling softly. The music throbbed in the background, a cheerful counterpoint to Mrs. Crabtree's fury. This wasn't going well. Calling for help. The limbo stick, fashioned from a pool noodle taped to a broom handle, was now precariously low. Even Agnes Crabtree, emboldened by 3 gin and tonics, gave it a valiant, albeit clumsy, try, nearly taking out Mrs. Henderson's prize-winning petunias in the process. Lily cringed. The music pulsed, a relentless throb of bass that vibrated through the soles of her feet. Her mom, bless her heart, was nowhere to be seen. Probably hiding in the kitchen, pretending to reorganize the Tupperware. Except, Lily noticed a flicker of movement behind the gauzy curtains of the living room window. She glimpsed Mom, phone pressed to her ear, her face etched with worry. The call. It was finally happening. Lily needed to distract herself, to find some semblance of calm amidst the escalating madness. She grabbed a bucket and shovel from the garage, tools meant for building sandcastles with her little cousins, not coping with a full-blown villa invasion. Down by the shoreline, under the unforgiving glare of the tiki torches, she began to dig. The damp sand felt cool and grounding against her skin. Methodically, she packed the bucket, flipped it over, and patted the miniature fortress into shape. A tiny flag, fashioned from a stray cocktail umbrella, topped the highest turret. It was pathetic, really, this sandcastle, a fragile attempt at order in a world gone wonderfully, terrifyingly chaotic. But for a moment it worked. Officer Bumble arrives. The siren's whine faded as a police cruiser, bubblegum lights still flashing, rolled to a stop on Lily's meticulously manicured lawn. Officer Bumble, a man whose name perfectly matched his round physique and gentle demeanor, climbed out, scratching his head beneath his cap. He surveyed the scene. A bouncy castle deflated mid-bounce, beach balls bobbing in the swimming pool, and a limbo stick lying discarded near a sandcastle building station. He blinked. This wasn't exactly the aggravated assault he'd been expecting. Then he saw Mrs. Crabtree. The woman was weaving precariously, a half-eaten hot dog clutched in her hand. Her face was flushed, and her voice, when it erupted, could shatter glass. Officer! Officer Bumble, is it? Arrest him. Arrest him right now. She pointed a sausage-like finger at Lily's dad, who was trying to untangle a string of fairy lights from a flamingo pool float. Lily, who had been attempting to salvage the remains of the ice cream sundae bar, rushed forward. Officer, please, there's been a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Mrs. Crabtree shrieked. He's trespassing. He's throwing a rave on my property. I demand you take him away. She punctuated her demand with a dramatic wobble, nearly losing her balance. Officer Bumble looked from the sputtering Mrs. Crabtree to Lily's bewildered father, then back at the deflated bouncy castle. He pulled out his notepad, looking utterly perplexed. This was definitely not in the police academy handbook. The truth comes out. Mrs. Crabtree, fueled by cheap wine and the thrill of near success, was attempting the limbo. Her floral muumuu strained against her bulk as she wiggled backward, a flushed grin plastered on her face. Officer Bumble, looking increasingly bewildered, stepped forward. Ma'am, with all due respect, he said, his voice strained, I really need to see that deed. Crabtree huffed, straightened, and thrust the crumpled paper at him. Here. Feast your eyes on legitimate ownership. Officer Bumble took the crayon-scrawled document gingerly, as if afraid it might crumble to dust. He squinted. Is this crayon? Lily, who had been hovering nervously, gasped. It can't be. He turned the paper this way and that, a flicker of something akin to understanding dawning in his eyes. Suddenly, a bark of laughter erupted from him, so loud it startled a flock of pigeons from the eaves. He doubled over, clutching his stomach, the crayon deed shaking in his hand. What is so funny? Crabtree shrieked, her face rapidly turning the color of a ripe tomato. This is? Lily, does your little sister have a penchant for legal documents? Bumble managed to choke out between gasps. Because I recognize this handwriting. It's little Daisy's signature style, the way she makes her wise. The laughter stopped as abruptly as it began. Mrs. Crabtree's face was now a mask of pure, incandescent rage. The music from the boombox seemed to warp and distort around them, the festive atmosphere evaporating like mist in the morning sun. Goodbye, Mrs. Crabtree. I'm innocent, I tell you. This is a miscarriage of limbo. Mrs. Crabtree slurred, attempting to duck under the significantly lowered pool noodle. She wobbled, her floral muumuu billowing around her like a deflating parachute. Officer Bumble, initially bewildered by the impromptu limbo performance, now wore a tight, professional expression. Mrs. Crabtree, please cooperate. Suddenly, a glint of something metallic flashed in her hand. Lily recognized it as her grandmother's antique silver letter opener. Mrs. Crabtree made a break for it, her sensible orthopedic shoes failing her on the dewy grass. She tripped, landing with a muffled oof and a clatter of silver on the patio stones. Are you all right, ma'am? Officer Bumble asked, helping her up. He confiscated the letter opener, his expression hardening. Attempting to flee and armed? That won't look good. He guided her, none too gently, toward the police car, its flashing lights painting the scene in dizzying red and blue strokes. As the car pulled away, a chorus of cheers erupted. Lily felt a wave of relief wash over her, followed by an unexpected pang of pity for Mrs. Crabtree. The next evening, Lily returned home to find her house ablaze with fairy lights. A banner strung across the porch read, "Welcome back, Sunshine Family." Neighbors, bearing casseroles and beaming smiles, spilled onto the lawn. Mr. Henderson was manning the grill, flipping burgers with gusto. Someone had even set up a makeshift stage for karaoke. It was overwhelming, wonderful. Lily hugged her parents, tears welling in her eyes. What's all this? A welcome home party, sweetie, her mom said, squeezing her hand. The neighborhood wanted to show you how happy they are to have you back. The air buzzed with laughter and music. As Lily watched children chase fireflies and adults share stories, she realized that even after the storm, the sun always found a way to shine through.